So the next question comes from a friend of both of ours, Steve Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Steve starts off with the compliment. I feel the genius of Hal Blaine is the fact that you constantly came up with the great drum parts for songs that you never heard before. You did this day after day, year after year, song after song. Were there any particular song or songs that you remember being especially difficult to find just the right drum part for? And if the answer is yes, what were those songs and how did you overcome it?
Well, the most difficult work that I ever did was from a film score. Shelley Mann had done the film, and then it was, I think it was Leonard Bernstein. No, it was Elmer Bernstein.
Okay.
It was a song called The Carpetbaggers, a movie called The Carpetbaggers.
Okay, yeah.
And the theme, running all through the thing, I got called in to do an album for Elmer Bernstein of The Carpetbaggers. And Elmer had a habit of going from 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 2 to 4 to 6 to 5, 4 to 7, 8, you know, it was almost impossible. And as I came into the studio and I saw this pile of music there, and as I was slowly looking at some of the parts, I felt that strange feeling of, holy mackerel, this is really some tough stuff. What the hell am I going to do here? And as I was doing that, the percussionist, I wish I could remember his name now. I love
Is
it.
this the same
Lou
person?
Singer.
Oh, right, okay, yep.
Lou Singer.
Yep.
One of the great
Yep.
percussionists, did all that Warner
Yep.
Brothers stuff on
Yep.
xylophones, etc., etc. Lou saw me sweating, and he came over, he put his arm around me, he said, look, you're going to be just fine. Don't even think about it. You know what you're doing, you got it covered. When we get to this, just think this. When we get to this, just think this. And he really calmed me down. And we did it. It's a great album. It's a great album. And that's happened to me rarely, but that happened to be the album.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have carte blanche to do what I wanted to do. Then I did a live performance with Lalo Schifrin one time.
Okay.
Major, UCLA, every bit of press was there. It was one of the biggest things that ever happened at UCLA. Big orchestra. It was, I think Larry Bunker was on percussion. Eamon Richards was on percussion. There were several percussionists.
Okay.
It was great. It was a wonderful night, and I was very ill. I had a terrible fever, temperature. And we did this entire score. It came off just magnificently. And I remember Lalo Schifrin, and they all took their bows and so forth. And when the curtain came down, as Lalo was walking away, he was immediately surrounded by press. Click, 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 million flash bulbs going on. And he broke away and he came running over to me. He gave me the biggest hug. And he said, that was the most extraordinary, what you played was the best I've ever heard, period. And he would carry it on in front of all these people. And I kept saying, thank you so much, Lalo. It was, great fun. I loved it. And I was sick. I just wanted to get home.
Yeah.
I never had another call from Lalo Schifrin. Never. Not one call. And then when the Carpenters Center opened at Long Beach, magnificent theater that opened. It was built. A lot of the money came from Herb Alpert's foundation. It was called the Richard and Karen Carpenter Center.
Yeah.
But eventually they changed it to the Carpenter Center.
Yeah.
And the opening of that center I was on drums with a huge orchestra. And Joe Osborne, who played bass on all this stuff with us too. And it was a magnificent night. Peggy Lee was sitting, I loved her. She was sitting there looking at me and I just wanted to throw her kisses, you know, sweetheart. And I mean, the place was nothing but VIPs and big shots and well, that's what VIPs are. And stars and movie stars and singers and everybody was there opening night. It was by invitation. And Lalo Schifrin was on the bill, along with Herb Alpert and different people. And these people were all introducing me. So, you know, on the drums here, so-and-so did all our records, and, you know, everybody knew me in the audience, and I was getting big hands and so forth. Richard never did it. He didn't want to break the bubble that Karen didn't play, that it was me. Most people knew it was me anyway. And so all of a sudden, here comes Lalo Schifrin. And we're doing Mission Impossible. And when we finished, Lalo says, I must say that on the drums tonight here, my friend Hal Blaine, the finest drummer, the greatest drummer, I can't say enough about this guy. And Lalo writes that kind of stuff too, about the da-da-da-da-da. And I took a vow, the audience was, you know, just loving me. Never heard another word from Lalo for the rest of my life. Never heard the strangest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But eventually, after we did, I don't know, another 2-3 concerts with Richard, and they'd have movies showing of Karen. It was very sad. She had passed away. It was very sad. But by about the third concert we did with audience, Richard finally made a statement about the fact that I was actually playing drums.
Cool.